Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Black Baseball Mixtape. I am your host, Cheats. And as always, BBM is brought to you by the Family Podcast Network. I'm going to ask you to do me a quick favor. Please go anywhere that podcasts are available. Click subscribe, rate us 5 stars. Somebody rated us 4 stars, so we got to counteract that somehow and get as many 5-star ratings as possible. Look, one day this podcast, this network, this show will be big enough where I stop counting the number of pro players that we had on the site. Today is not that day. This is our third pro player ever to grace us on a mixtape talk. It is Bubba Alleyne. I am so excited to have Bubba on the show. Quickly, before I welcome Bubba, I'll quickly tell you that Bubba was not, I mean, there's a level of being a first team All-American. But I heard that Bubba Alleyne, and I'm pretty sure, was a consensus unanimous first team All-American at the University of Maryland, which you don't get every day. He was drafted in the Dodgers organization. He played last season in Rancho Cucamonga. Bubba, welcome to the mixtape, man. I'm so excited to have you.
Thanks for having me on. I'm excited to just chop it up and just talk baseball.
Let me ask you the first question. It has absolutely nothing to do with baseball. The first question. Rancho Cucamonga. Do you know what film and Black culture made Rancho very famous?
Let me see.
You might be too young. You might be too young.
I don't even know.
The Friday series with Ice Cube.
Really?
So Friday after next, the second Friday, they moved to Rancho Cucamonga because they got rich and won the lottery.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, you gotta watch crazy. That. That's crazy.
I gotta go back and watch it now.
Man, they're in Rancho Cucamonga. It's Mike Epps replaced Chris Tucker, and that's what crazy. It is. And the second thing I'll ask you has absolutely nothing to do with baseball, but we're gonna get into it. I promise. you started this thing off. You opened up war paint already. You're wearing the Eagles cap. They're moving along in the playoffs. How do you feel? You feel good about this? The playoff run for the Eagles.
I'm happy, man. Like we're playing the Giants tomorrow. Like I said, like I'm either gonna look good or bad wearing this hat. But I'm riding with my dogs for the Eagles.
Absolutely. Well, just because you're on the show, actually I can't. I was gonna say I was riding with the Eagles too, but I got too many friends. I got too many friends all over the place that I can't necessarily say that. But I wish you the best of luck as you go through the playoffs.
Yeah, we're going to need it.
Let's talk about what's happening right now, and then we'll go back over your journey, your career a little bit, and your love of baseball. But you finished your first season in the Dodgers organization. My first question for you is, what's it like being a pro player? Right, you played baseball all your life, but now you are a pro baseball player. It is your livelihood. Describe to me what's that like for you, and even just some things that may have happened to you as a pro player that you didn't expect.
Right, yeah. So like you said, it's a job now, and luckily it's like I think it's the best job in the world. So it doesn't really feel like you're working every day because you're just doing what you love. But it's a grind, man. Like the minor leagues it's no joke here. It's all day. I get to the field probably like 12-1 and not leaving until 11 o'clock at night, right? So, but it's fun. Like you get to go out and play baseball, like you meet new people, like you find some friends on the team, and it's the same game you've been playing since a kid. People are a little bit better, the stakes are a little higher, but it's just you get to go out there every single day and play, and your body's tired a lot. Got a lot of guys throwing pitches you've never seen, people in the stands and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's the same game, you know. And being out there it was my first time in Cali, so it was a new life experience.
That's right. You're an East Coast guy.
Yeah, so it was just a little shell shock to get out there and kind of you're on your own, right? So it's crazy.
Does it feel like a job at this point? Does baseball feel like a job, or does it still feel like a kid's game?
But it still feels like a game, you know. Like obviously it is our job now, but it's the same game. You just go out there and have fun with it. Like, I feel like if you put too much stress on yourself, too much pressure, it's just not going to be fun anymore. And like, I feel like you play your best when you're having fun of it, just enjoying the game and the guys around you and the fans and the atmosphere. So just really just going out and just trying to do the same thing you've done your whole life. Just play the game the right way and just have fun with it.
Are you the type of guy that sets goals, like in the sense of, I know there's goals of getting better every day. I want to work on this and this, and I want to get better every day. But are you the type of guy that says, by the end of this season, I want to do this? Like, as you're working at the University of Maryland right now, and you're going, working hard in the off season to get ready to the season. Do you set goals for what you expect in the season, or is it more of a daily grind?
Right. So yeah, I'll set goals for myself, not really based on statistics as much as just improving on certain parts of my game. I was like, all right, by the end of the year, I want to focus on going this year. I want to focus on hitting the high pitch better, or focus on being more accurate with my throws here, cleaning up some things on defense, and I'll kind of set those kind of goals, and just keep my progress as I go along. Because I feel like chasing numbers is just for me, it's just I don't feel like I'm success in that, because I don't want to say I want to hit 330, and then what happens if I'm hitting 330? What do I stop there? So I don't really set statistical goals as much as I'll try and set like I'm gonna really focus and attack on my weakness. I'm struggling to hit pitches up in the zone. I'm gonna try to attack that and look at average of the year and tell like my average is up 60 points up in the zone compared to last year. And then just keep setting different goals and attacking those weaknesses. Just because I want to set a goal that I'm probably never really going to reach, because you just want to keep trying to attain more and just keep improving. So I set more goals like that based on performance and attacking weaknesses more than probably statistics, I would say.
Now, are you a guy that looks at and kind of pores over analytics to see, oh, I'm doing this well, I'm not doing this well? Or is it kind of a feel, like you got a vibe, like I got to work on this?
Yeah, so in the day-to-day, I'm more on the feel. And then as I start to reflect on, all right, like, what am I doing well? What am I not doing well? I'll start looking at the analytics and the data there. But for day-to-day, I kind of try to stay away from that kind of stuff and just kind of play the game. Like if I'm feeling something different, I'll try and make an adjustment here, or talk to my coaches. Hey, what are you seeing here? What are you seeing there? But for analytics, I know people really fall in love with that kind of stuff. But for me, I just try to keep it simple and just go out there and play the game right and just have fun with it. So I kind of stay away from those unless I'm reflecting or something like that. But I just kind of have some feel with it.
I kind of feel like there's no in between these days. It's either people are like locked in the analytics like world, or they're like, get that stuff away from me. Tell me what I need to know. It's like it's a little bit of a yin and yang.
It's like the old school. It's like the old school, new school thing. Like some people are in love with it. Some people hate it. So it's like it's funny to see that balance and people's different perspectives on it when you get to program.
So you did mention you're an East Coast guy. I think it's Philadelphia, University of Maryland. Then you get drafted and you're shipped all the way out to the West Coast of California. What were some of the biggest adjustments? Was there any big adjustments in regards to just going out there, being acclimated to new weather, new people, and playing ball out there in the sunshine all the time, as opposed to,
for sure. I'm used to starting the season off in 30-degree weather and my hands are freezing. I can't feel anything. And you're just battling out there just to stay active.
Oh, in the game. Man.
But I'm in Arizona, funny. It's 110 degrees.
Yeah.
And dry heat. It definitely took me some getting used to for that, because like, everyone's like, oh, stay hydrated, but that's a different type. Like, you got to prepare the days in advance. Like,
that's amazing.
I got up there and I was dying at first. Like, oh my God,
were you? It was like affecting your conditioning and all of that?
Yeah, this heat.
Oh, that's
heat
crazy.
Was crazy.
I would have never thought.
Yeah, it was like 100. My first week out there was like 110 degrees, and every day. And but it was nice though, because it was sunny every day. You didn't have to worry about it. Like, you know what you're getting every day, which is nice. On the East Coast, it's cloudy here in the winter. Like, but out there it was beautiful every day. It's just that heat would get to me at first. So that was a huge adjustment for me.
So, talk to me about the grind of minor league baseball, especially, rookie ball and lower level. Look, I see you got the ice. You got the ice around your neck. However, I have been familiar enough and talked to enough players and Lord knows agents and people like that says, hey, look, it is a grind. You are playing ball, but it's also like kind of hand them out. It may remind you of your college days, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's not even far off. It's a grind. Like, I mean, it's like you're trying to win games, but at the same time, you're competing for spots to try and move up too. So you gotta just try and like outworked everyone. Like, and everyone out there, it's like I said, it's a job. So everyone out here is fighting for their lives. People have kids and families who try to support them. And so it's you're there all day, all year round. And like I said, the off season might be even harder than the season, just training, trying to get your body ready for the season. So it's just like it's a never ending cycle. It's all day, every day.
And correct me if I'm wrong. You don't get paid in the off season, right? Like the off season,
we don't. No.
And it's tough. To make sure you're doing everything you need to do.
Yeah, I mean, like you got to figure it out. You got to figure out somewhat one way or another. Like, and luckily this year they were paying for our living this year, so we didn't have to worry about that. But previously, guys were telling me like, yeah, we were sleeping in motels, or some guys were sleeping in their cars. So they wouldn't pay for housing where they're living. So it's definitely not easy. Just the day in and day out life of being there is nice because they take care of us pretty well now. But the off season is definitely, I would say the off season is more of a grind than
the budget
season at some points.
Look, you look all those budgeting classes. Hopefully, look, the 5 years at Maryland, you got some budgeting classes in.
Right.
Hey, I was really, really impressed with. Obviously, your All-American senior year was so impressive on the field. I was really impressed when I learned about your journey and your grind, and just to be honest, their dedication to stick to it to even get to that 5th year at Maryland. Talk to me a little bit about not necessarily like the numbers year after year, but starting from not getting that much field time, right? As a freshman, as a true freshman.
Yeah, not really a lot at all, yeah.
To starting every game, All-American, doing the things that you need to, and Maryland having a pretty good season. What did it take? What was it kind of within you and your work ethic and your values to say, hey, look, I'm not getting kind of the run I want to get to start off with, but if I keep with it, this is going to happen. I know you can't imagine it's going to be as great as it was that 5th year, but talk to me a little bit about your journey in Maryland to get to the place where you're an All-American and now you're drafted, because it was not easy. It was some tough days in there, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. And I obviously get here freshman year and things don't really go the way I want early on. And I feel like you got really 2 options. You can kind of fold and quit, or just kind of learn some things about yourself and really dig deep and just work hard and get better, right? And you see a lot of times like keep guys transfer or go somewhere else. I think it's gonna be easier or this and that somewhere else. And I'm really big on just like commitment and like dedication. Like I said, I committed to come to Maryland. Like I want to earn my spot here and make a difference in this program. So, and that's kind of the way I lived my life after that. Like that was what it was all about. So every decision you make, all your actions kind of have to correlate to that thought process too. So every day was a grind, like working with the coaches, working with my teammates, and just saying, hey, like talking to guys who at the time I thought were better than me. Hey, like, what are you doing in this situation? Like just picking guys' brains who had that experience, and just kind of watching more baseball too, like just watching the game get better. So freshman year definitely started off rough, then started to get better as the years go on. Sophomore year started to get more playing time, and then junior year finally kind of solidified my spot there. But there were definitely some dark days where you just think about like, man, am I playing the right sport? Like, am I doing the right thing here?
And what was it about your personality that, like, was that something that was always in you? I know you said you want to stick to your commitments, but how did you kind of bring yourself together, get under composure in those challenging days? What did you stick to kind of push you forward?
Right. So I'm an ultra competitive person, like maybe almost too competitive sometimes. And I feel like that's a loss for me if I don't get to achieve what I came here to do. So like that for me is just like, I don't take it well losing. So like that would have been a huge loss for me if I wasn't able to come here and do what I set out to do. So that was kind of like my whole driving force is like, I'm going to be successful and I want to win. And that just kind of drove me to kind of do the things that I did and kind of go about things the way that I do. It's just everything is a battle. Everything's a competition. And I feel like that's how I kind of live my life, whether that's everything for me. So like I take that personally as not that all the coaches hate me or this and that. Like I just say, hey, like, I'm not good enough right now. Like what's going to get me better? And just kind of try to find those answers every day and working towards that. It's really just like that would kind of kept me going.
I like that you said you take it personally. It reminds me of the Michael Jordan Last Dance. Like I take it personally, and then you just go out and show out. You showed out that fifth year at the University of Maryland. You showed out in ways that I don't think anyone could imagine. What clicked for you just going into that year, knowing this was going to be your last shot at the university, and you really took that ball and ran with it?
Right. I mean, I think it was just a combination of a few things. I mean, I really just started to like mature in my game and know who I was. Really just not trying to do too much, right? It's like, this could be my last year of baseball. Just really just trying to have fun and like enjoy it. Like, right. Like every time like you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself, you got the draft coming when you're eligible. There's fans here, there's expectations. And kind of just throwing it out the window and just enjoying every day. Like we talked about, just spending one more day with each other every day as we kind of start the season. And that was just kind of my mentality, is trying to get really outside of myself and just kind of, and just enjoy the moment and like what we're doing. Cause like you said, college is awesome. You don't want to regret anything. Like you always want those years back. Right. So just like staying in the moment and just enjoying it. Cause like I've always kind of been talented and been skilled, but really it was just kind of taking a step back and not really putting too much pressure on myself.
Now, I will say this. I did look at the University of Maryland program through the years. I did. And it looked like that fifth year. Now, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I should just ask an open-ended question. But how much weight did you put on between that? Like, there's 4 years of Bubba Alleyne, like height, weight, and then that fifth year, it looked like you put on some extra weight. Did you change your body at all, or?
Yeah. So I mean, that was a huge focus for me. Just staying healthy and just like kind of wanting to produce more power. And
was it like 15? Was it like 15 pounds or
it was like 15,
20 pounds?
I was like 17 or 18 pounds. Yeah. So I really went to
legit work.
Summer. Yeah. So like that summer and that fall was a huge time for me, and just eating right and just working out, and just kind of, that was one of my goals, was to gain weight and come back and not lose any speed or anything like that. So that was definitely a grind, a huge focus for me going into that last year.
So that's that, and I'm sure it definitely showed on the field, made a big difference. And I'm sure as we look at you now, you even look more ripped now than you did last year. And some of the pictures I saw of your first season. Let me ask you this, because I'm glad you mentioned how competitive you are. And this may not be a question for you, because you are the player here. You don't have any kind of say, right, in what organizations do. However, draft nights. Let's talk about draft experience and draft night. You know you're going to get drafted. You're one of the best players in all of college baseball. Baseball is a funny sport when it comes to drafting.
It's tricky.
So ultimately, your name comes off the board. But I'm looking at it like, help me understand, because I don't understand. I'm looking at the board and I'm like, there are not 500 players better than Bubba Alleyne. Like, there's not. So how was draft night? What for you? How does that work? Did you expect all of this? Were you like, I'm just going to go hoop and do some things. They'll call me when I get picked up. But like, do they give you the information about this is what's going to happen? Don't like get too crazy about it, because this is the process.
Yeah, so it's tricky, right? So like it's kind of, you talk to the team before the first day of the draft, and kind of have your meetings and phone calls and stuff like that, and they say, hey, like we're going to give you a call at some point. Like hopefully we can get you here and there. We'll see how the day goes, and then you're kind of just sitting there waiting for phone calls. So like as the days go on, you start to get phone calls and say, hey, like, we're going to try and get you today at some point. We'll call you if we're going to basically take you. And you're kind of just sitting there waiting.
Yeah, I'd be like, I'm out, man. We'll see.
Yeah,
just hit me when you can.
And you're sitting there stressing all day about it. Like, even if you know you're going to get picked, it's just a matter of when. And I got a call from the Dodgers, or I think Jason, my agent, who like negotiated my contract and all that stuff with PTSD management. He's the best, and he was back and forth with the Dodgers, and he said like, hey, after day 2, like Dodgers are going to take you on day 3 at some point. Like, don't answer the phone for anyone else. Like, we're going to take you on day 3. So that was a huge relief for me. And like, me and my parents we're still freaking out watching every round go by. Like, oh, the Dodgers just picked. Like, that wasn't me. So watching every round is definitely a little bit stressful, but the process is, I mean, the teams are honest and they give you a little bit of heads up, but it's still you're sitting there watching every single pick go by and waiting to see your name. So it was definitely a little bit stressful, but definitely really rewarding at the end.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you are a pro baseball player. But let me ask you this. Do you have a chip? Like, it's famous. Like Tom Brady's like, all of these teams passed on me. Like, do you have a chip, or is it like baseball it just doesn't work that way? It's just like a different thing. Or do you look at it like, I know there's not that many players better than me?
Right. Yeah. So like, there's definitely everyone kind of has a chip on their shoulder. But I try to focus on myself and like not worry about, they picked all these people before me. I have confidence in myself.
Plenty of people picked after you. So I'm not saying that too.
Like,
I'm just like,
yeah, for sure. And I was like, okay, like they want to take them, that's fine. Like nothing against them, but I believe in myself, and I don't even really worry about that. It's just like I just got to do me, and I know that'll be good enough to kind of get where I want to go.
Absolutely.
So I just I don't really focus too much on that as much as just kind of focus on myself and doing what I need to do to get to where I want to go. Absolutely. That's enough fuel for me to work hard and do what I need to do.
That's exactly right. You're exactly right. You got the right attitude, and we know you got the skills. Let me switch gears just a little bit, and this is the Black Baseball Mixtape. We have a lot of Black baseball fans. We have a lot of Black people connected to the game. And so I do want to ask you, as you've gone through your career from playing big-time high school to University of Maryland to where you are now in pro ball, it always seems as if especially talented Black players, when they move up to the levels, they start to see less and less of people that look like them. Right. And there's teams where you might be the only brother on the team, and you have to make adjustments. How have you adjusted in pro baseball, but actually through your career, when you look around and you're like, man, I might be the only one here. I might be the only one on this field between two teams. How have you adjusted to that element of baseball?
Yeah, I mean, definitely it's a thing, man. I've been the Black player on the field multiple times, and for me, I kind of grew up in an area where it's very diverse, and I've played white players, Black players, everyone, and it wasn't really something I really thought about until I got to like high school and started going to these tournaments, and I noticed there was less and less people who looked like me everywhere I went. And it was just something like you just learn to. It almost became like the new normal to a certain extent. It was like this is like what it is. This is what I see every time I go to these tournaments and when you play for these teams. And at Maryland, I actually they do a good job here, kind of getting like Black players here and stuff like that. So it was kind of going a step back, like, all right, this is like more normal. Like this is. And then pro ball is very, you get a lot of Latino players. It's very diverse in that aspect, but at the same time, you still don't really get very many Black players, like a lot of white and Latino players. So it's definitely an adjustment, but it's something I feel like you start to just kind of look past. Like you want it to be different, but at the same time, like you just get used to it. Like you're used to just the environment and the culture.
But you grew up on the East Coast, Philly, you played at Maryland. What do you think, Bubba, we should be doing as people that love baseball, Black people that love baseball? Like, what can be done from your aspect of your vision, not like what you personally can do, but what have you seen that can be done to make it more, less of the new normal to be the only Black? Like, how do we get more Black participation in the game?
Right, and I think something like that I think about is just making it known that it's an option, right? Like because you get full scholarships, you're going to play football and basketball. You don't have to pay for college and that.
No.
In baseball, you have to pay. They don't give full rides out very often.
Right.
And then in high school, it's expensive to go to these tournaments and recruiting. You go to Florida and all these perfect game tournaments everywhere. It's expensive, and I think just making it more of an inclusion thing and making it more accessible to get to the recruiting processes and stuff like that. Because if you can go play high school football at high school and you can get coaches to come out and see that because that's high school. It's related to your high school. Baseball, you get recruited in the summer, and that's expensive, right?
Very much so.
It's the exposure and kind of the access to recruiting and for some those people, like, that's sometimes not an option, and there's no really alternative.
No, I
Right, so
understand.
that's where it becomes difficult. When I grew up in Philly, there was this team called the Anderson Monarchs, which is probably 90% Black organization, and they do a great job now of getting colleges to come talk to kids when they're young, and coming out to see the high school kids and recruiting like that. But that's just a small part of the world,
Yep.
of the country too. So just
But
kind of having more.
I think that's part of the answer, right? We just need more organizations, more people, more honestly, we need more young kids seeing you out
Right.
in A ball and, and seeing you out in pro ball. And when you keep elevating and seeing you at the University of Maryland and beyond, I think that helps, right? To have young people say, oh, I know Bubba's a pro player. I can really, there's an option.
Right, just knowing that it's an option, like, and it's really possible for anyone, right? Like, you start out playing, everyone plays this. It's the same game for everyone. You just gotta really knowing that it's an opportunity you can go do it's a huge factor in that.
How do you, in regards to cultural things, like when it comes to Black culture, how do you kind of find people that you can relate to? I'm sure hopefully you've had them growing up, like you said, in Philadelphia, family members, even close teammates or so forth. But you said that some of those days are real challenging.
Yeah.
And when those challenges come, how do you kind of overcome them? Do you talk to family and friends? Is there kind of guidance books? Do you talk to coaches? How do you get through some of the difficult times, especially when some of these people may not relate to what I'm going through?
Right. Yeah. So talking to your family, always keep your family close and kind of talk to them, whether it's my mom or dad or brother. And then having some of your close friends who may not be Black, but sometimes they might not be understand, but they can definitely sympathize and kind of and talk to you, and just kind of having someone to talk to is just also just a huge part. Just like, so maybe someone like not even relating, but just understanding sometimes also helps as well, right? So just having that, and I've been lucky to have great teammates my whole life, and most of them are still. I've talked to pretty much all my teammates I've had my whole life. My parents always bring up to me, but it's just been nice to have really close friends and a good family and that's close to me that I can have access to and really just bounce anything off. And if I'm struggling, ideas with whatever it is. So I have a very good support system, whether it's like old coaches or teammates or family, has really been making it easy for me to kind of have people to go to.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I really, really appreciate that answer, because you're exactly right. Support system is key, especially with a baseball player. You're talking a lot of games. You're talking a lot of grind. And sometimes I don't think people fully understand, like, there might be stretches in there where you're 0 for 15, and you could be doing everything right. You could be doing everything right.
Yeah, you could line up 10 times in a row.
Exactly.
Like, what do you do?
Right. You can't just got to keep chucking. Let's switch gears a little bit, Bubba. I'm so happy that we're talking. I'm so proud of what you've done and what you're doing. Let's have a little bit of fun. These are kind of some rapid fire questions. And I ask everybody this, and it's already been a segment. This is going to be part 2 of the segment. But if you could face any pitcher, living or dead, who do you face and why? Who do you get in the box with?
I think I would face probably Nolan Ryan, or actually Mariano Rivera. I'd probably face Rivera.
I like that. That.
Just because it's like the way people talk about his cutter, like they knew it was coming, and these are big years, and they're like, "Yeah, we just couldn't hit it." But I just want to see that in person, like, and just understand like what that looks like, and like how do you go even about hitting that? You know it's coming, and you still can't hit it. So like, what does that even look like in the box?
I agree. I think that's a tough one. I mean, how do you think you would do?
If he throws something in, I think I have a chance. If he's back throwing cutter, that cutter, it's gonna be tough.
What has been for you so far in pro baseball? What has been the coolest experience?
I think the coolest experience is just walking around the weight room in Arizona and just seeing guys that you see on TV, right? You know them, like, and it's just like kind of a surreal feeling. Like, dang, like I've been playing the video games, watching TV on MLB, like MLB Network or whatever it is, and then you just seeing them work out in the weight room like regular guys. So it's definitely been, and like some of your coaches are like, man, like one of my coaches is Jason Bourgeois, who played for the Astros back in the day, and he's like my outfield coach. I talk to JB all the time now, even in the off season, and it's like, dang, I used to play with you in a video game. And then just kind of like meeting those guys and just being around them has been really cool. So that's definitely been my favorite part about it.
Is there a player? I always love to ask this. Is there a player that you've kind of interacted with now that you're a pro player and in the organization? Was there a player that you saw or interacted with that really was like, yo, that's so and so over there? Like you had to take a step back, be like, is this real? Is this happening?
Yeah, it was Danny Duffy. He was actually like, he's older now.
Yeah.
But I've been watching Danny Duffy in the league for I don't even know how many years, and he was playing. He was doing the rehab start with us, and he was just sitting in the locker room, just like chopping it up with us. Like he was on the team all year, like the coolest dude ever.
That's awesome.
So that was, and you would have never known this guy was had a full big league career. He was just like down to earth, like cool dude. So it was really awesome to kind of meet him and just see how that big league goes about their day and what the stuff he did. And he bought us good food after the game, and it was definitely a cool experience meeting him.
Have you had that's a good segue into, have you had to change your schedule a lot? Like you're like the pro ball schedule I know is growing, but you're like your personal schedule in regards to like, oh, now I gotta work out here, I gotta do this here. Is it like, have you had to make a lot of adjustments in regards to what you do on a daily basis?
Yeah, definitely, because we don't have school anymore, so that's not even a factor. So, so showing up to the field is hey, the game's at 7. I want to lift. I want to get my early work in. So, and I got to eat and then get ready to BP. So it's like, what time do I show up? Like, you can kind of make your own schedule. So I like to get there early around like 1. Whereas in college, like you're showing up 2.5 hours before the game. Like I'm there 7 hours, 6 hours before the game. Getting my work in and doing that. And the off season is the same. Like I like to get up kind of early and kind of get my stuff done and then have the rest of the day to chill. So it's 9, 10 a.m. Get up, like get my day going, and then I'm usually done around 2 or 3, and then I kind of have the rest of the day to chill, hang out. So it's definitely been an adjustment, just having so much more time to kind of do stuff.
Who were your favorite players growing up? Who'd you look up to?
My obviously being a huge Phillies fan, I loved Jimmy Rawlings was my favorite. Jimmy Rawlings, like Ryan Howard, Chase Utley, that core 2008 Phillies team.
Yeah, World Series team.
My favorite team of all time. Just watching those guys play really kind of sparked my interest in the baseball. I played pretty much every sport growing up, but watching them play kind of really made me really love baseball and just kind of really want to focus on that. And Jimmy Rollins is kind of just the guy for me.
Jimmy Rollins is the man. He really is the man.
He's the man.
Have you ever met Jimmy Rollins? Have you ever interacted with him?
So I actually haven't met Jimmy. But his wife used to work at my school. So I've seen him a few times, but I haven't actually gotten to meet him. It's weird because my dad actually knows Jimmy Rollins, which is weird.
Yeah, that's crazy.
They talk on Instagram, which is funny. I haven't actually got to meet him.
We're here to make dreams happen at the Black Baseball Mixtape. We'll try to make this happen. Jimmy Rollins, hopefully we'll see this one day.
That'd be awesome.
That's funny, man. That's funny. So that's awesome because, again, it just happenstance. You're in Philadelphia. The team that you're kind of that core that you're following, Ryan Howard, right? Like Jimmy Rollins. That's exactly what we're talking about when we talk about you being able to see players to say, look, I can envision being there one day. You know what I mean?
Right. Mm-hmm.
If you were not playing baseball for a living, what would you be doing?
That's funny. I've always been a sports guy my whole life and kind of played everything, but I think I would definitely pursue golf, which is kind of a random thing. But I've played golf probably just as long as baseball. And,
are you serious?
Yeah, I've played my whole life, and I definitely think I would probably try and pursue that. Even I know I think it might be harder to go pro in that than baseball, but
Don't tell people.
I'm definitely a better golfer.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Kind of last questions here. We talked about your schedule. We talked about the grind. But when you are not in baseball mode, which is, I understand, never, but what's like the vacation? Like, what's the downtime Bubba Alleyne look like? What do you do when you're not thinking about balling?
Right. So, I mean, for me, it's just watching Netflix or playing video games or just hanging out with friends, whether it's playing basketball, just going out and doing things. I just like to be active and doing stuff. So recently I just watched the whole Harry Potter series, never saw it before. Got home from the gym and just watched one every single day. And that was kind of the end of my day. So
that's hilarious.
I'm watching football or throwing the football or going to play basketball with my friends, just kind of staying active, except playing golf. I've just really been a huge sports person. My family's always just kind of been around sports my whole life. So that's kind of what I tend to gravitate to, even if it's not, when I'm not playing baseball, I just kind of gravitate to doing something else active.
Do you have a favorite baseball movie?
Favorite baseball movie? Yeah, I would honestly say, I don't know how much of a baseball movie is, but Bench Warmers. For some reason, that movie just cracks me up.
Very nice, very nice. And I'm going to get you out of here on this because it's an honor to talk to you. I really appreciate your time. I am so excited to be able to see someone like yourself, Bubba, that, again, on the surface, it may seem like it was all good, like college All-American, right, drafted in Pro
Bowl. It definitely wasn't always like that.
But it was someone that really, really had to make the commitment, stick through it at Maryland for 5 years, stick through it through the draft. Now getting in the Dodgers organization is still always that grind to be better. So I am so happy that you're on the show. We will be watching very closely as, you go through what's coming up next and you get placed. You were telling me a little bit off camera, but how does it work now? Where do we know, like, what's your schedule in regards to getting an assignment and then starting your season?
Right. So I'm going to LA this week. Just kind of do some last minute hitting adjustments and stuff like that before spring training. And then I'll go to spring training on the 15th for a little early camp for some of the guys they invite out for that. And then spring training gets going, and I feel like we kind of learn our assignments as we go and towards the end of spring training. So this is my first year, so this is all kind of new to me as well.
Right.
So still trying to figure out how everything works, but just talking to some of the guys who have been there before, it's kind of you'll figure out your assignment as spring training comes to an end, and hopefully you can go out there and play well and be at a level maybe you didn't think you were going to be at before spring training. So just kind of go in there with the mindset I try not to worry about it and just kind of go out there and play and let the cards kind of fall where they may. So just go out there and try and just ball out and play the best I can and then go where they send me and do the same thing there.
We're going to have to wrap it there. Bubba, I wish you the best of luck. I will be following closely. One of the surreal moments always is when we lock down. Look, I'm a card collector now, and I've been a card collector for about 6 months. So when I can get those debut Bubba Alleyne cards, I'll make sure I do that and play you in the show and do all those things as well. But brother, I really wish you the best of luck as you continue on healthy. I want you to have a healthy season and do all the things that you've set out to do, and we'll be watching closely. Come back and visit us on the mixtape, my man.
Thank you so much for having me on. Definitely will.
Excellent. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Bubba Alleyne. He's with the Dodgers organization. Make sure you follow him on IG. Where's your IG?
IG is Bubba Alleyne, Bubba_Alleyne. It's easy to find me. I don't think there's that many people named Bubba, so.
And by the time you see this, it's either going to be a hero with the Eagles hat or it's going to be Dunsville, but we'll see.
I'm hoping it's a hero.
Until next time, this is the mixtape. We'll see you soon.